Today I'm going to do a little video on how to properly size a chain for a vintage road bike. This one is a 6-speed Suntour freewheel with an old Suntour AR2 derailleur and some old Sugino cranks. Suntour AR front derailleur. This is basically the same for all vintage road bikes, mountain bikes, probably everything from the late 60s up through the kind of the modern age when it comes to road bikes, really, at least through 10-speed. Not a lot different. A little tricky without the shift cables and housing installed, so you can't move the front derailleur out of the way as easy. So we'll kind of just fish it through and fight it just to size it, and then we'll do the derailleur cables and housing next. This is a 6-speed freewheel, so I'm using a KMC Z chain. This is the new Z6. And it is not ramped or pinned to aid in shifting like modern indexy stuff. This is an old friction chain. So it's not made to fall off on purpose to aid in click shifting, because you can just futz with the friction shifters. Compatible 6-speed cassette city bike. Cool. So this KMC Z chain comes with a quick link. The old ones did not. They just had a single pin, mostly pushed out, ready for you to use. And it's a little different in that it's also got some kind of hollow links on the inside. And it says they are sort of shaped to aid in shifting, but it doesn't really look that way. So what a chain has to do is wrap the rings. You want it to be able to wrap the big ring to the big ring and these derailleurs without exceeding the max limit on this derailleur and breaking it, which looks like this one barely has a max limit. And then it also needs to be able to be in the littlest ring to the littlest ring and not be all saggy and terrible. That's pretty easy on a standard setup like this. It gets really tricky when you start mixing and matching your gears and try and put giant mountain cassettes on road bikes and all sorts of weird stuff and chain wrap that derailleurs can't handle. So we set up the chain, going to little ring to little ring. Your derailleur should already be all the way in for your highest, hardest, or smallest cog there. And remember, most derailleurs have a little cagey dude you have to avoid, fish this through. Suntours, the chain can just pop through real easy, but old Shimano derailleurs, you really do have to fish it through. Whew. So this chain would be too short right out of the box, or it seems so. But if you look, it's actually hitting the bottom of the derailleur down here. So we actually do have to shorten this chain until it stops hitting the bottom of the derailleur. Hit, free. Hit, free. So this chain looks like it's the perfect length. So we know that at a minimum, it is not too long. Now, most likely, this is going to solve all of our problems, but we will still check it on the big ring to the big ring to make sure. I like putting them in so it's readable the right way. I feel like some say you need to do that, some don't. Putting them in so it's upside down here in the bottom, but when it comes back around to the top, it'll be right side up and readable. I'm going to pull the chain off the big ring. This is giving us all the slack we need to easily hook it back together without it being a giant fight. Now, most chains come several lengths too long for road bikes. So you can use them on mountain bikes or things with longer chain stays, like whatever the reason. But you usually have to remove 3 to 6 links. They mostly come standard 116 links. So I slip the 2 clicker links into each other, then you pull them taut. From the big hole into the little hole. Make sure that they're nice and smooth, free playing. We're going to relieve the tension on the rear derailleur so we can pull this back up on the chain rings. Nice. Now I'm going to shift up into the biggest ring, as well as slip the front onto the big ring. Like I said, this would be much easier with the derailleurs already hooked up. Now we can see on the big ring to the big ring, the chain still wraps. still around this derailleur, and there's still plenty of room for the derailleur to move. So the derailleur is taking up quite a bit of tension. No problem. The turner drops down. Plenty of room. Still, the spring's still working. The chain's still wrapped, and it's not rubbing on itself. So we know that magically the Z-chain right out of the box fits this old vintage road bike perfectly, which has slightly longer stays than a slightly newer bike. It's got 27-inch wheels and a little extra room for fenders. A lot of race bikes will have very little room and smaller wheels, so they'll have slightly shorter chain stays. So you might have to take a link out of this if we put it on a racing bike instead of a road bike. But that is it. That is how you size a chain. Thanks for watching.